Hello everyone! So I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to prepare your file for a digital negative. So first things first, so I'm going to open up my image. So I'll be using this, and we're going to go ahead and go to image, mode, and 16-bit channel, just to make sure it is in 16-bit. Now the next step is to make a background copy. So we're going to go to layer, duplicate layer, and hit OK. Another way to do this is by simply dragging the background copy and dragging it towards the plus sign, and that also makes a layer copy. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the background, and then we're going to put levels. So there's two ways to go about this. We could go to our adjustments tab and click levels, or we could go to image adjustments and levels. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the blacks and bring in the whites. So this is our shadow and our highlight, and there it is. The next step is to edit our image. So I noticed that I have a lot of shadows inside the deli that I would like to bring out, as well as this doorway. So I'm going to go ahead and use a curve. And a curve is kind of like the brightness and contrast adjustment, but it's more fine-tuned. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make this curve specifically for the shadows. So I'm kind of just slowly bringing it up, and you could already see that there's a lot of detail coming back. I'm just gonna kind of find my happy medium and then kind of adjust it this way. So now that I have adjusted for specifically the shadow areas, I'm going to clip that there. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to go ahead and paint a layer mask. So using the brush tool and the black and the white paint selection, I'm going to paint the areas that I do not want affected by this. So anywhere that has highlights, so outside, using 60% opacity and a soft brush, just slowly painting back the areas that I don't want adjusted. I'm going to bring this down a bit. So anywhere where the sun is really touching. And now I have this entire area of shadow that I would like to keep. Okay. And now I'm going to select the area by holding Shift and clicking on this box. And now you could kind of see where exactly my shadows are being brought back out. I'm going to deselect it very quickly and re-add this small area that was missed. So this man's behind the ear, over a shoulder, and this area. So making sure that area is selected too. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on that again. And now I'm going to inverse my selection. So you can inverse by doing select, inverse. And then I'm going to copy, Command C. And I'm going to click on curves. And it should automatically be inversed. So now for this curve, I'm going to specifically bring down my highlights because I think they're blown out a bit. So we're going to slightly adjust. And just slightly bringing it down. Maybe bring up some of the shadows in the vehicle. Okay. So I think that's quite good. And then I'm just going to go back to the background copy and kind of use the burn and dodge tool to help me out a little bit. So I'm gonna go into his face and kind of burn a little bit, bringing it more down so you could kind of see more details coming back. So I'm adding more exposure pretty much. So think of the burn and dodge tool as adding or subtracting exposure. And I want a little bit. Actually, I don't think that's gonna do anything. Will it? Nah, that's alright. So I think I'm quite okay with what I've done. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add sharpness to it. So adding sharpness is optional, but essentially you make another layer. I'm going to call this sharpen, and you're going to add the sharpen filter on top. So we're going to filter, and then down here sharpen, and we're going to do just the first option, which is sharpen. I will also be going in with the sharpen tool and kind of getting into his face. I think that was a little too much. Just very slightly. I'm going to bring it down a bit to like 25. And just painting it in. Just small areas that I think really need the detail. So these picture frames. I really like this pole. Doorway. I really like when text is very sharp and noticeable too. So this ATM sign and all of this. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next step, which is to resize and flip our image. So we're going to hit image, image size, and we're going to make sure that the width is 11. It's okay if this is clicked on. I think it's much better if we keep it that way, just so our image doesn't distort and look kind of wonky. So if I would actually put this to 8.5, it would start to look a little funky. So it looks kind of stretched out. And it's just better to keep your image's aspect ratio originally. So just 11, keeping resolution at 300. Okay. Now, our next step is to rotate our image horizontally, going to image, rotation, flip canvas, horizontal. And now we're going to make this black and white. So, we're going to click this. There's different ways to go through. So clicking this half circle and going to black and white, or up here in adjustments, here's black and white as well. Or we could click on a layer, adjustments, and then here's another way to do black and white. But I'm just gonna go down here, click on black and white. I'm gonna just drag it upwards because we can't see it. And there you go. So now our image is in black and white. I'm just going to do slight adjustments regarding color, so you could kind of slide this up left and right. Yeah, I want my reds to be a bit brighter. There's some orange in there. Let's see, was there any green? Just making sure things are popping a little bit. So you can see how that's too much. And this is a little bit. I think the happy medium is like somewhere right here. And then that looks pretty good. Okay, then the next step is to then invert the image. So again, going to adjustments here, here, or up here. Just going to click invert, and there is our final digital negative. Yeah. So I guess I'm pretty okay with this. My only concern is that when printing, it is important to know that the areas that are black will be our highlights, and the areas that are white will be our shadows. So there will be a lot of darkness in my print in this area specifically, and in here I might lose detail of what's inside, but there's nothing wrong with trying and then kind of going back and fine-tuning to see what works and what doesn't work. And also burning and dodging physically using these tools. And I'll probably show you how to do that in class some other time. But yeah, I hope this was easy to follow, and good luck.